But as a manager in the modern professional game, what sort of access to data and statistics do you have about players' performance in training, during live games, post-match analysis? And to what extent does that guide the decisions that you make?
Well, I think it might be relative to the level that you're at. So obviously the top clubs would have incredible amount of resource in every area, and data will be one of them. And as always, anything that goes on at the top filters its way down and finds its way to other clubs. So I think, for example, in the times I've been in doing this role or head coach role, the use of data has grown, the availability of data has grown, and the number of providers for such data has grown hugely. And the amount that you can capture, and almost every area from the moment you walk in to the moment you leave can be tracked, recorded, analysed. We have to be careful not to overload people with that. I think that's very important in a pressured environment, that we put too much of that, and people try to become experts in data rather than experts in the game. And there's a fine line between that, certainly for players. So I think that's something to consider. But as manager, I think ultimately you're always trying as the manager to find every area you can where you can improve, any way you can make the boat go faster, any way you can help score a win. That is it. So I think you're asking of the small team of people that you work with to bring you solutions and ideas and challenge your thinking all the time. And part of the skill of the workforce is to know what stuff matters and what stuff is interesting but irrelevant. And sometimes I think in a short paced time, you haven't got long to turn a game plan around and get ready for the next game. So I think there's certain things that are an element of data might help you right now, immediately, and something can be parked because it's part of a bigger picture or a longer term goal. And prioritizing what you use when becomes important. But from my perspective as a head coach, or even in the role now, we would be able to track the physical side of the game in terms of the output of the players, every individual, and then the collective. And that is a really interesting piece of work that a lot of our performance and sports science departments would use to track and measure players' training loads and see how that then influences the next game and the next training session. So that side of it is a huge part of the game. And then you've got the performance data, so everyone's individual output in terms of the basic statistics that you'd see on every TV show, possession, and the new one, XG, that you'll see all the time. And then beneath that, there are so many layers. And then it's about being disciplined enough to say, what's the stuff that really matters to us? And I always think with data and with anything, if you know what the end point that you're aiming for is, then you can evaluate against that. Otherwise, you've just got numbers, you'll throw them out, people will analyze them, but they're not necessarily the ones that really matter. So it's really important to have that internal, first, the discipline to stick to the stuff that matters to you, but actually clarity, conviction, and idea and vision at the beginning that says, this is what good is for us. And then you can judge against that, rather than here's a load of numbers, pick out the good or the bad. Because you can find data, can't you, to shape any story. And it's trying to make sure that you've got that real clarity, I think, firstly.
I trust you've enjoyed this brief section of my conversation with my most excellent guest. Check out the full podcast episode by clicking here.